Hello, everyone. We are a few minutes early. If anyone is here, I would only use the time to briefly mention and explain my presence here. I'm actually filling up for Dave, who is currently traveling, so he won't be able to host the webinar, but we didn't want to postpone or reschedule or anything. So because of that, it's going to be me who hosts this webinar. My name is Darko. I'm the head of BizDev at Shortlist. Been with the company since it was established, for 7 years now. Basically also being heavily involved in the launch of the PTE community from afar, I have to say. So been here since the early days, establishing the community, building it up from the ground, and so on. So pretty much aware of all these initiatives, and I have been filling in for some time now. I would try not to take a lot of your time today. Once again, apologies for in advance, and also sending a message from Dave that he would make sure to be hosting the next one. Briefly, I'm Darko, the head of BizDev at Shortlist. Been with the company for 7 years now. Also been involved in the build-up of the PTE community. So from afar, but since the establishment of the community, organizing events, running it up, preparing stuff, and so on. Dave is currently traveling, so we didn't want to reschedule the event. So it's going to be me who will host this one, and then from the next one you will get your lovely host back. Basically, I would start with a presentation now, and in the meantime, if you have questions or you want to me to answer anything or dive deeper into some of the marketing channels, feel free to use the chat. We have a Q&A at the end as well, so we'll try to answer as many of the questions as possible. Diving into the presentation. So basically, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to compare different marketing channels. We're going to look at their pros and cons, how to choose wisely for your business, what is the preferred marketing channel. Briefly about Shortlist. Shortlist is an inbound marketing agency, been on the market for 7 years now. We do pretty much all things SEO related, but we also do website design and development. So some of the channels that are going to be shown in the presentation, we're actually quite capable of executing strategy there. So first of all, we're going to have to cover what is a marketing channel, the pros and cons of each marketing channel. We're going to precisely go over 5 marketing channels and how to actually select the best channel for your business. So what is actually a marketing channel? Marketing channel is basically any platform or a method where you are communicating with your ideal target customer. It's how you actually transfer and get your message across to the customer. For example, if you post something on Instagram about your products, that's a social media channel. So you have activated social media as a marketing channel. If you run a newsletter to your targeted audience, that's like an email marketing, which is another channel. Each channel has its own style. Each channel has its own rules of success and actually how you can optimize and run an effective strategy. And there is basically no one solution fits all. So when working on a strategy for a particular channel, you have to be deliberate about your goals. You have to have a clear strategy in place because you will have to utilize resources. The resources are always limited, and spending them wisely can make a huge difference between the ROI that you're going to get out of the marketing channel. Most often, companies make a combination of being present to at least 3 or 4 marketing channels, and each channel requires its own dedicated strategy. So now we're gonna be covering the following 5 channels, which is basically search engine optimization, which is SEO, pay-per-click advertising, social media, email marketing, and content marketing. So each channel, like I said, has its own pros and cons, right? Briefly about the channels, like as we go into each of the slides where we elaborate the channels, we're gonna talk about what makes that channel a place for you to run your business, and we're gonna talk about how you can actually use it to your advantage. Majority of the channels shown here are self-explanatory, or maybe you have heard or you have done some work on those channels. Search engine optimization is basically optimizing your website, the content and the structure to actually improve visibility and rankings on search engines, which drives targeted website traffic. I would say out of all the channels that we will cover, this is like quoted like the long-term investment. So basically it's maybe the one where you get the type of dedicated traffic that you're looking to get, but it takes time to get there. Pay-per-click has like a different structure, which is a more of an immediate results. Social media, on the other hand, it's also a bit of a continuous investment, and it grows with time and longevity as the business gets like older. Email marketing requires to actually, it's basically in a way anyone that interacts with your business, it's a customer, it's a lead that shows interest into your products. Running a dedicated campaign to actually engage them and nurture to actually go from a single customer one time to a repeated customer and so on. Content marketing is basically distributing valuable and relevant content through the blog. Most often it can be video and infographics. So first of all, we will start with SEO. So SEO is about getting your website to actually show higher on Google. This means like when someone actually uses and searches for a query, or let's say if you're running like a store for a coffee shop, a nearby coffee shop, right? Neighborhood coffee shop. If someone searches for like best coffee in town, this is a bit local, but then showing up on Google, higher up on Google for that particular search query, it's when someone like does that and search for that query, that is like an immediate direct traffic that is going to be coming through Google. And the higher you show up for a particular search query, the more targeted traffic or website traffic you will be getting. We can talk also globally. One of the longest standing actually marketing channels. So basically, let's say you're selling like goods, right? So you have an e-commerce store selling like sports equipment. So your brand has like all these like product pages. You have to be aware basically which keyword is associated with which page. So that's like a lot of like pre-planning and like a keyword research analysis that should be done here. So you got to be aware about what are the business keywords that drive value for your business, right? If you know those like core, it's very important to actually associate those keywords with the relevant landing pages on your site. And done correctly, basically, this is a strategy that can guarantee longevity. So the process of running an SEO or as a marketing channel, it's because it's organic. The results are long term. There is like a cycle in SEO, which means basically the results are maybe direct end results of traffic are not seen right away when you start a campaign, but you have to lay the groundwork to be able to bear the fruits at the end. Meaning like usually SEO agencies are projecting at least 6 to 12 months before you see tangible, a lot of things happening before you see that direct traffic. Meaning like you have to make sure that you are well aware what are your important business queries. You have to make sure that the pages on your site are properly optimized for those keywords, meaning there is like a strong alignment. And also you have to be and make sure that the site runs from technical standpoint perfectly in order to be able actually to rank higher. There are like different strategies within these channels that are utilized. So for example, like those are like off-page SEO, on-page SEO, which are like, I would say, the core elements. And when they are executed correctly and synced together, basically in the long term, you can expect and lean on a lot of long-term organic traffic. What are the cons here? Actually, it's very time consuming. Like I said, longevity, it requires like dedication. You can't expect like wonders in SEO. A little bit of resources, meaning in time, I would most from, because like it takes time for those SEO results to really kick in terms of direct traffic. You are always, with SEO, you're always leaning on Google. So basically, whenever there is like a algorithmic change on Google, that can really affect your traffic. So you have to be able to adapt and pivot. Also, I would say is like another thing is the technical demands. SEO requires some technical knowledge. So basically, you have to optimize the site, the speed, mobile friendliness, making sure that you have like a solid interlinking structure, and so on. And it's also like the content that you put out there, it's very important. So the content on the page should be optimized with the right key for the right keywords, with the density, and so on. So basically, there is a lot of competition when working with SEO, but the results can be fantastic if you actually execute the strategy properly. The only thing is that you have to be ready to dedicate time and resources and money, but there is always a strategy to be created no matter the budget, meaning like depending on your industry, the competitiveness of the industry, there are always ways to actually appear for important business queries higher up on Google. So you have to know what you're doing, and one advice that I would say for everyone to actually keep an eye on is basically don't skip steps. You have to like go through all the details. It might be looking boring, like doing an extensive keyword research analysis, making sure that you analyze your competitors, making sure that you actually understand what your ideal customer persona searches for when looking for your products, and things like that. Setting up the data, the base is very important, and then it's only about building it up from there. I could be talking a lot more about SEO, but it's not only about that. So we're going to be switching now to the next, which is like pay-per-click. Pay-per-click, I mean, the name says by itself, is basically unlike SEO, where you have to like earn a spot on the search result. Here is about paying for visibility. So basically, the concept is very straightforward, right? You create an ad. You have to like it's good to have like a solid copywriting team to actually make sure that the ad resonates with the audience. And basically, you pay for that ad to be shown as a banner on a website or a sponsor post on Facebook, for example. And then you bid on the keywords and audience criteria. Here also, the nuances are important. You get charged each time someone clicks on an ad. So that's why it's called pay-per-click. And the most common platform, and is actually the most well-utilized, is Google, right? Through Google Ads. So basically, if you're running a bakery, right? Let's say you're running a bakery. You might want to bid on a keyword such as like order cupcakes online. So this, for example, if you win the bid, the ad is shown up when someone searches for that query. Usually, like if you recall, like Google has like lately, especially like the first couple of spots are designated for pay-per-click ads. So like who wins the bid appears in those first three spots, and basically then that's how the ad is shown and you get charged. So some of the pros for running a pay-per-click campaign is basically you have immediate results and quick wins. Not like SEO where you have to like lay the groundwork, make sure that the base is built up. Then if you measure results as like traffic, right, which is like the end goal. In SEO, you get there a little bit later in the process. In pay-per-click, you get there. Basically, that comes with a cost as well, which is on the pro side is it's very costly. It can add up, and also is the moment that you stop paying for the ad, your traffic disappears, right? So there is no longevity. Another pro is that it's very highly targeted. So you basically you know exactly who sees your ads because you can select the audience characteristics to which the ad you want to be shown. And you can select by location, by demographics, by their interests and behaviors, and so on. There are like dozens of other criteria to help you like iron out a campaign. It's very much pretty measurable in terms of ROI. Like what I like to tell is basically here we're talking about clear measurable ROIs, like, okay, the click-through rate is like this, it's very clear at the end of the campaign, and then you have this many clicks. In SEO, what we want to tell is basically there is like a different avenues of KPIs, or like two or three different avenues when you basically like build up your organic site as one KPI. Keyword ranking is another KPI, and then the third layer of KPIs is basically the traffic, which in the cycle of SEO comes after those two are evolved, the first two. Here, on the other hand, you see the traffic very, very quickly. Another pro is basically that even though it's costly, you can manage it, meaning like you can scale it and control it. Like you're always aware, you set your budget, you know how competitive a certain keyword is, and basically you can play with the budget to optimize a campaign. What is a good, what I'm a fan of actually in pay-per-click is basically that it can give you a good indication for your long-term SEO campaigns. So why and how? Like I said before, every campaign needs to be built on a solid base. So basically you have to like do the boring work of like, let's run a competitive analysis, let's run a keyword research analysis. So you have like an idea of keywords, which are like search queries that your ideal customer persona searches for when looking for your product, right? So you have an understanding what are the keywords, but you have to test those keywords, and the easiest way to test it is through pay-per-click. So you basically run a pay-per-click campaign targeting the keywords of interest, and then you're gonna be able to see the returns, meaning like how many clicks you got, what was the conversion of the click-through rate, how many conversions you got out of those clicks. So basically those numbers will tell you if the keywords that you envision that your ICP is searching for are actually driving traffic. If your analysis is correct, and then the pay-per-click campaign confirms that, you can actually start to invest more heavily or long-term on the SEO perspective, targeting those keywords. So it's a good way to actually test things out. Another cons, and I will move to the next one, is like people can get tired of ads, right? There's like ad fatigue all over the internet. People like try to and tend to like not click on ads, even pay for like ad blockers and stuff like that. So basically for your ad to stand out, you need to be able to create extremely creative ad, and also like to lean on an industry or a niche where the audience is willing to click. So basically, you're fighting with that ad fatigue, I would say. Next one is, yeah, we are like 20 minutes in. We have like, I think 10 more minutes, so promise not to take a lot of your time. So social media marketing. It's kind of like it's like using social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's like they are growing in popularity to promote your brand, right? It's pretty simple. This can be done in two ways. When it's like organically, when you're like actually posting content on your profile, engaging with followers, and so on. And it can be also done through paid ads or sponsored posts, which is getting very popular these years. Basically, it can involve sharing an update. It can involve sharing a milestone of your business. It can involve sharing like video stories. It can be anything that actually connects and resonates with your audience. It's also a two-way street. It's not unlike search. Social media lets people to actually interact, right? So when in search engine, basically, it's kind of a one-way street. You as a brand have positioned yourself by showing your page and the website. On the social media side of things, there is like an engagement, right? There is engagement where like someone clicks on your ad. There can be a message or a comment where you as a brand have to interact. There is one of the underlying, or I would say like not undervalued things, is basically like how you actually position your brand as the personality that will drive the engagement. It's a way to give your brand more of a human touch and to actually resonate with your ideal customer persona on a deeper level. One thing is lately very popular on TikTok. It has been like TikTok and then YouTube Shorts as the latest trends in terms of like the social media, where the attention span of and it goes in favor actually of social media marketing. Like the attention span of the consumers is getting very short, right? So like people they used to read like long articles that can actually guide that on a certain topic, and actually people willing to consume that long guide. These days it's more about those quick attention spans that you have to capture it if you're targeting. So basically social media gives you that, and it's a good way to actually connect with the audience and fight against that content saturation. Here you can also target the ads pretty much very heavily, and work on work with a larger audience to increase your brand awareness. Is great for increasing and actually for building up brand awareness. Engaging with the community, like I said, you're giving personality to the brand, so resonating with your ICP on a deep. Another thing that to master here is actually the visuals, because it has like viral potential, right? So you have to be mastering your visuals and how you actually what you actually show your audience. So there are like a lot of ads flying around. So basically, if you want to something to go viral, it has to be like very trendy. It has to be funny. It has to be like a helpful infographic or something that is going to be easier to digest and then consume. On the cons side, here we also fight with algorithm changes and content saturation, like I mentioned in the introduction. One thing that can be like a pros and a cons at the same time is basically that you have to be available pretty much almost 24/7. So it's like about real-time feedback and trends. So you run an ad, like I said, short consumer, consuming spans, and basically like if your audience is interacting with you as a brand, you have to be present and you have to like confront or elaborate or lead them through the funnel, face potentially negative feedback, and knowing how to maneuver around that is very important. It can actually make or break your campaign. Next one is email marketing. Email marketing is basically, like I said, using your email communications to engage with your audience. Usually you're like, as a brand, you're building up your newsletter, right? So you're always brands fight to have like a newsletter full of leads and customers. So you nurture them in different ways, but it's like the direct way for you to appear in their like mailbox, right? So it's extremely important to build a list of email addresses and then send them content that will actually resonates with them on a level and knowing that they have shown interest for you as a brand. Most of the time it can be used for a promotional purpose. But lately, like newsletter management campaigns are getting very creative in terms of like being more informational rather than just hoping for or leaning towards like transactional types of newsletters. It's one of the oldest digital marketing channels, and it's incredibly effective when executed correctly. It's direct one-to-one communication with your ICP. They land in the person's inbox, and because it's a space where everyone spends a lot of time daily. So that's super important. So again, it's getting saturated, but you have to like know the characteristics of your ICP, which meaning like knowing what type, based on like what type of a brand you are, knowing like what type of a content would your ICP consume, making sure that you run and educate them about new products, new launches, about changes into your current offerings, about like trends in the industry, because they are interested to consume your product, right? So it's very effective, and like when executed properly, of course. A big advantage is measurable ROI. It's very clear. So basically, multiple studies have shown actually that the email marketing case actually has one of the highest ROIs of all the marketing channels. For example, marketers get about, this is a case study that shows that they get around $40 back for every single dollar spent on email marketing. That's a great ROI. Around 4,200%. Even if that number varies and it moves in different direction, like we can give the benefit of a doubt and like say, let's say even if it's $30 per $1 spent on email marketing, it's clearly one of the leading ROI marketing channels. So to sum it up, it's a direct communication between you and your ICP. It's very personal. It has high ROI and it's measurable, and it's actually a long-term process of continuous retention and nurturing. So basically, this is very important. Like if you say that, if we get that one person, a customer, enters into your brand and enters into your funnel, nurturing that relationship is important. So basically, the most famous marketing rule is basically 80% of your purchases coming from the 20% of your customers. So we're talking about nurturing customers, making sure that you stay on the top of the mind, and making sure that you don't abuse that personal connection, and finding the right balance of like sharing knowledge, updates, information, and then making sure that the funnel is created to lead to more purchases. Also, the nurturing is great for turning prospects into customers. So when someone signs up for your newsletter, like we assume that this person is willing to learn or willing to consume the information that we are sending. So it's definitely we are one step. You are one step actually through the door. So making sure that you have a great funnel and a nurturing system can lead to great results. The cons, like we said, is basically fighting with the potential to be seen as a spam. We are all on the receiving end of that, right? So if you're running an email campaign, what annoys you when it comes to your inbox. So try to not to do that in your email marketing campaign. Make sure that you actually nurture your list week over week, month over month, making sure that you have created separate lists. So like split, you have leads, you have customer, you have one-time customers, you have repeated customers, and so on. You can build different segments, and then you can test it out with A/B testing, so you can see and improve elements of your campaign. And you have to fight with the deliverability, right? There are like so many factors that influence the email deliverability. So make sure that you do read guidelines of how you nurture an email list, making sure that your domain is in great shape, and then actually keep an eye on the data. So like I said, measurable ROI, but you have to keep an eye on like what is the open rate, what is the unsubscribe rate, what is the bounce rate, and so on. So basically, all these metrics are super important to pay attention to, and you just have to be on top of your email list continuously. Last is content marketing. We know the saying like content is king, right? But there are like different types of content. So in generally speaking, content marketing is creating and sharing a valuable content, not only ads, that actually attracts and retains your audience, that ultimately will drive to a profitable action. Idea is by providing genuinely useful or interesting content, you will build trust and authority in the niche that you're operating, making your business more of making your business to be seen more favorably in the eyes of your customers. So we can talk about different types of content here. We can talk about blog posts. There is like a lot to be said about like blog posts and what a carefully executed content strategy on the blog can mean for your business. There can be videos, there can be infographics, there can be ebooks, and podcasts that are super popular. Maybe even webinars is also part of this. The key is that it's not just sales pitch, it's about like providing something valuable to your customer or to the person of interest that is going to be informative, educational, and entertaining as well. So basically, content often works hand in hand with other channels. So basically, content is a key ingredient of a successful SEO campaign. So basically, improving your visibility on Google, it goes quite well with, or it's very connected with executing a perfectly executed content strategy. So what we mean by that is basically, when you run your blog, again, it's built on like an extremely deep research, knowing what your customers, who your ideal customers are, what are the topics of interest that they would like to read, and then building out your content based on keywords. So meaning like from an SEO perspective, like you know that your customers want to read about, okay, what are the I don't know, best you're selling like sun cream. Basically, what are the, I don't know, 10 differences between sun cream that can actually harm your skin. Whatever might be the case, but you have to know like what you are building the content on, like what are the keywords that you're going to build your content on. And then that can come a long way into how Google actually sees your brand as an authoritative source, as a source that actually shares knowledge and informational content. When you're developing the content for your site, you have to make sure that it actually covers different stages of the funnel. That's super important. So like there is like a top of the funnel content where you're educating, right? You're talking about broadly about the new industry that you're operating, because it's going to be a content that's going to be consumed from someone that briefly showed interest. And then there is like middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel content, which basically, as it goes down through the funnel, the content can get more transactional. So like I said, it's spreading leadership. It can be extremely efficient for SEO purposes. And as the brand matures, gets more authoritative in the industry, it has long-term value. So those are resources that you can count on spending basically on the developing your brand through the content. It can be slightly more difficult to measure early on in the process because like content is king and it actually drives traffic and drives audience. It can be as a supporting hand for other marketing channels. So it's slightly difficult to actually measure and isolate it, how are the ROIs on the content that you're investing. But on the other hand of the equation, you have this long-term value that it offers, and it's actually attracts and engages your targeted audience. Basically, I would say things change with how people consume information and like the channels and everything, and where do they search and etc. But I would say like content should be a key ingredient of your marketing strategy. Investing in it can bear benefits like long term, and like building up your brand to an authoritative level, making sure that people that are interested to learn about the subject can lean on your content or your blog is always gives you an upper hand when the decision-making time about the purchase comes. I think, choosing the right channel depends on many factors. Like we mentioned all of these elements throughout each of the channels, but you have to know what is your targeted audience. You have to know what do they search for, where do they search for, the keywords that they use, how do they consume content. That will actually go a long way in terms of like ironing out and your marketing strategy and choosing which channels we are going to use. When you set your clear goals, you have to have goals, as we all know, like short and mid to long term. You have to be always able to adapt and pivot. That's why like measuring, setting up clear goals of increasing how you're going to measure the brand awareness, how you're going to actually check or measure the traffic that it comes to the site, or like what are the lead requests that you're getting, and so on. These goals are super important, so you can like measure all of your activities, and based on that, basically assess your current financial situation. Make sure that your resources are delegated properly. Don't like spread them too thin, because like it's not only, sometimes it's not important to be present everywhere, but nail down where you're present. Make a combination of the marketing channels that drive the most return, and then be on top of the data. Like be on top of the data, be able to pivot. That doesn't mean like pivoting every month, but it means like pivoting once in a quarter, or like once in a at a half year mark, like when seeing like the data and the returns of the strategy. That would be all for today. I think we covered very important channels. Like we would be, Shortlist does inbound marketing. We do like a search engine optimization. We do content. We do paid ads. So like we do a lot of the channels that were shown in the presentation. We'll be happy to answer questions. If you have anything that you would like to know, or like if you'd like us to have a look at your brand, if you'd like us to actually give you our assessment of potential strategies that you can utilize as a brand, shoot us an email. We're gonna be happy to have a look, give our thoughts with an idea of making your life easier. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer now. We're gonna share the deck. Like, feel free to leave your email here, and basically someone from our company will reach out, share the deck, and offer any help that we can do. I think got email. This interesting field. We'll definitely have a look, and then we can keep the conversation going over an email. Thank you for the time, and I hope that it was entertaining, and it didn't take a lot of your day.